I'm learning what I already knew, that I don't get to choose when or how or why or who. Aspens quake and bodies break, I could too. I could too, I already knew. In and out is all we get to keep. Nose to throat to lung to heart to blood to rosy cheek. Days go by in minutes, the hours last a week. The in and out is all we keep. We all gotta wash in the stream. Not one of us is pure, not one of us is clean. Every one of us is pure, everyone's a holy dream, washed in the stream. Never been a spring that didn't come. Nothing's ever new beneath the cold winter sun. Hammer, tree, and tap, that sap is gonna run. It's gonna run. The spring is gonna come. Learning what I already knew. All the mighty millions are really just the fragile few. Empires shake and bodies break. I love you. I love you. I already knew. Well, hi, I am Claudia Russell, and I'm glad to, yeah. It depends on if you like the show or not, what my name is. No, I'm Katie Dahl. I'm very glad you're here. I assume we all basically know each other, yeah? Like you, I'm not new to anyone. You don't have to raise your hand if I am, but so you're used to my shenanigans. Oh my gosh, but not Rich's bass sliding shenanigans. So welcome, please give a warm welcome to James Kaplan on the piano. And Richard Higdon on the bass. They're my band, and they're so nice to be my band. Hello out to all of you out there in the internet. We have some internet people, so it's nice in-person people that you're such nice applauders, because then the internet people feel that we're popular up here. Which is, everyone's goal is to seem popular on the internet.
And the people on the internet, it's important that they know that there's a sold-out crowd.
That's right.
It's
so important that they know that. They gotta know about the sellout. So today is the launch of the Kickstarter campaign for my new album, which is called 7 Stones. And a lot of you have already kickstarted because you are so nice. And when I last checked about an hour and a half ago, we were close to 7,000 already, which is amazing. So we need to raise 40,000, but we'll get to that later. So the album is called 7 Stones, but for a while I called it Things Katie Dahl Finds Hard to Say. And so we started there with a pandemic song, which is not that hard to say, really. We'll get decrease, we'll kind of delve deeper and deeper. But this is a friendship song. This is a couple of the songs on this album ended up being about friendships of mine that were in flux, and I suppose that was always true, that my friendships were in flux, but it does seem like I'm about to turn 40 and everyone has kids and they're, everyone's sort of like settling into their trenches or something, and so things are more evident when they change. So this is a song called Two Old Birds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, there should be a word for this. For driving out of Minneapolis into your town, past the merry-go-round, station wagon windows down. There should be a word for this. For the feeling in my chest when I'm knocking at your door and the creak in your floor reminds me that I missed you. What the word is, I don't know. The word for two old birds walking alone. If there's a word, well, you should know. For that night 17 years ago, why you turned to me and then why you turned away again in the Minneapolis snow. I could write a whole damn book about the way I must have looked, standing there in the gray, you walking away. I could write a whole book. What the word is, I don't know. The word for two old birds walking along. You should have a whole thesaurus. I'm not asking for another kiss. It's your words I miss. Your words I miss. Well, there should be a word for the kind of stone, the kind of rock that we both own. We pull it on a sled, drag it into our bed so we can feel less alone. Now we're 17 years on, I'm just dragging my rock along, wishing somebody would see the stone in me, the way that you are. All along, what the word is, I don't know. The word for Martha playing on the radio, dancing in your kitchen, cooking broth from bone.
walking around.
So that song is, that song I noticed has a reference to rocks and stones in it, which is how the title of my album, Seven Stones, came to be. I was gonna call it, I noticed as we were recording the album, which happened out in Oakland, California. By the way, yeah, woohoo! By the way, everyone, be thinking, you know, there is going to be a Q&A section of this concert, which to me as an introvert feels like if I was you in the audience, I would feel that that's some pressure, like maybe you don't want to talk, and that's fine. But anyway, just be thinking about if you have questions about any of this. I'm happy to answer them within reason. So, out in Oakland, I was telling Julie Wolf, who produced the album, I said, Julie, I think I'm going to call this album Stones because there are so many references to rocks and stones in it. And she said, just stones? And I said, yeah, just stones. And, you know, it's being very Hemingway, right? Minimal. And she said, well, how many references are there? And I said, well, it's in 7 of the songs. And she said, how about 7 stones? I was like, 7 stones, ooh! Yeah. So, after some discussion about whether that would make the other non-stone related songs feel left out, we decided to go ahead and call it 7 Stones. And James Kaplan, during our sound check, pointed out something very exciting about this stage, which is that there's a cairn. You can't see it. There's a cairn over there, trust me, that has not only 7, but in fact 7 + 1 stones in it. So it's really, this is a set of Sunflower, which I hope you have all seen at Northern, well, it's here. You know where it is. Have you seen it? Yay, it's so good. You gotta come back. What?
We're gonna see it in October.
Oh, good, excellent. October, also a good time to see it. It runs through October, in fact. Anyway, this is the set, and there's 7 stones, and it's like it was made just for me. Now the guitar has been tuned back to its normal fashion. So, this is the last song I wrote before going into the studio, and I wrote it because Julie, the aforementioned producer, made me write it. She said, you need another song in a minor key, and I was like, oh, like I don't know how to write songs in minor keys. I can't. And she said, do it. So I did. I had gotten a text from a friend of mine, Peter Mulvey, who, it should be noted, sings on this album. And he said, my dad had died about a month earlier, and our son of Rich's and my son was turning 6, and Peter texted and said, so sorry about your dad, and happy birthday to the young tyrant. Life at both ends of the hallway. And I thought that was a beautiful image, so that's where this song came from. I'm going to start by myself.
Well, I had a son who almost died, had a dad who did. Both times what was crazy was the way the lights stayed lit, how my breath kept on coming while I was listening for him. There inside the corridor, wrapped in my mother's shawl, pictures of the dogs and kids and grandpas on the wall. I felt something stirring from the far end of the hall. Both doors open, both doors open. Well, sometimes I get to worrying, I wanna leave my bed. Those bar lights are a beacon, might start blinking in my head. I'm looking for a reason to start pulling at the thread. I might be standing in the parking lot, her hair all dark and warm, feel breathing heavy from the coming summer storm. Then before I know it, a rustle in the corn. Both doors open, both doors open, both doors open, and the wind is coming through. There are currents in the river. Most days I don't jump in. Most days I forgive her. Most days the white dove wins. Most days I keep the window shut. Don't let that tempest spin. But when I fiddle with the locks and find they're coming loose, sometimes I steal the eggs out from beneath the golden goose. Sometimes I bite the apple and it tastes just like the truth. Both doors open, 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 and the wind is coming through. Thanks. Immediate needs, questions, concerns?
You good?
Not you guys. You don't get to have any needs. So, I grew up in a family of ministers and missionaries and seminary professors. And as Jeff Herbst liked to point out in our show in the park, those were not all the same person. Those were many uncles and grandpas and mom and dad and everyone. And when I was 19, I came out as bisexual to my mom, and she was really supportive. But it took a while, and I think it's still taking a while to sort of undo the Baptistness of that whole experience of being a kid and and being taught. The church was on high alert for queerness of any kind in the 90s because of Ellen, right? We had to be concerned. And so we didn't really talk as much about the Bible as we did about Ellen. She was she was a bigger concern. So it was a thing to be worked through. And this song is sort of a fable about what if there had been a couple of us in that youth group, which it turns out contained a number of queer kids. And what if some of us were able to be brave for each other, and what would that have looked like? So this is called Sacristy. And it's better if my guitar's on. I'm going to start by myself. When the Benedict bells ring, do they make you think of me? You and me inside the sacristy, with the wafers and the wine, my blood pumping like the organ, holding Bibles in our hands. you the Canaan land, forbidden and fine. When I hear the bells of St. Jude, they make me think of you and all the pretty birds that flew from your mouth into mine. My swallows almost set to singing, sparrows almost took to wing. But if they knew anything, it's that God's eyes were on them all the time. You said the red velvet played with the quarters, let's take them. We'll build ourselves a house on the hill. We can draw the holy water from our own well. In the hollers and the badlands, in the missionary van, you dressed up in your sunburn, I hid under mine. And in the evenings at the altar, Father taught us how to pray for all the soul sick and the sinners. You grinned at me, you said, that's you and I. You said the red velvet played with the quarters, let's take them, build ourselves a house on the hill. We can draw the holy water from our own well. When God spoke to Samuel, you think it sounded like Benedict bells, everyone ringing out cracked and proud and clean. Back then I thought that we were serpents, I thought we brought the flood, thought we turned water into blood, thought we drank a wicked wine. But really you were an apple, me, I was a dove, eating manna from above. I guess you knew that all the time. You know the red velvet played with the quarters, I took them, I built myself a house on the hill. Now I'm drawing holy water. So won't you come where the bells are ringing? You'll find me here in my house on the hill. We can draw the holy water from our own well. Water from our own well. Water from our own well. Thanks. So, you in internet land, hello. You all seem great. I like your comfy pants. The Q&A section is coming up after one song, and I realized I meant to say this a few songs ago. If you wanted to ask me anything, there's sort of like a physical barrier between the questions and me, so we're having a nice sort of tag team between our friends Anne and Lisa to get me the questions. So just type them in real fast if you have them, and we're going to do another song, and then we're going to answer questions if you have any. And Rich is going to play the spoons.
Oh.
Yay! Oh no, we're not. Oh, never mind. Oh no. Okay, save it. Save it. Sorry.
Eventually.
Eventually, we're going to play the spoons. Oh my God. Rich is so not going to play the spoons. That is not what's going to happen.
Because we're going to do this other song.
We're going to do this other song I know, he is going to play the spoon. He is. Yay, he is, but it's just not,
It's like a little treat, just dangled.
I know.
Pulled back.
First we have to say some things that are harder to say, and then we will move into the spoons.
I've been trying to lose weight since I was 8. 'Cause I saw a picture of myself jumping into a lake. I've been playing in the water for most of the day. Now the sun had set down most of the way. Big orange ball sinking into the gray. Me just jumping into the wave. I threw the picture away. Someone must have taught all the other little girls the rules. How to eat their cake and have this too. Someone must have taught all the other little girls what to do. How to want them all but take only a few. How to be flat and thin and new. Except that all the other girls seem to feel bad too. What a waste of time. What a waste of I'm not the kind of girl who cares what anybody else might say. I only hate myself a few dozen times a day. Then a few dozen more for feeling that way. Get hit by the bullet and the ricochet. It's a game I don't know how not to play. How does anybody learn to say, hey, not today? What a waste of time. What a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. It's such a waste, and I don't have that kind of time. Nobody has that kind of time. I've been trying to lose weight since I was 8. 'Cause I saw a picture of myself jumping into a lake. Now do you want some spoons?
That wasn't very enthusiastic.
That's it. There we go. Well, this fine gentleman here, as you probably know, is married to an amazing musician. And, oh yes, thank you. I hear she's very kind. And he's a potter, and he's the facilities manager here at Northern Sky Theater. So it was sort of awesome when we got here today. I was like nervous about the show, and I was like, "It's hot in here. Is it hot in here?" And Rich is like, "Oh, I don't know. Is it?" And I was like, "Okay, this is like a stressful question for Rich. Like that's not like because he is in charge." I was like, "This is great. If it's hot, you can fix it." And he's like, "I know. If it's hot, I have to fix it." But the reason he didn't want to be distracted is because he knows that his true purpose in life, like the main reason he was brought into this world, was to play the spoons. So that's what he's going to do. And I'm going to blame our child, who takes a lot of time. He's very nice too, and wearing comfy pants just like you out in internet land. But he takes a lot of time, and so maybe that's the reason that we still only really perform the same spoon song every time. So if you're some of the nice people who come see us a lot, you are kind to not throw tomatoes. But Rich could just eat them. You can sing though, because you probably know it and you can sing. Of the Union song. Oh, here we go. I'll tell me ma when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull my hair and stole my coal, but it's alright when I go home. She's handsome, she's pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She goes courting 1, 2, 3, please won't you tell me who is she? Well, Albert Mooney says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. Door, ringing the bell. My true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow. Rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Jenny Murray says she'll die. She ain't got the fellow with her overnight. Tell me, ma, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull my hair and stole my coal, but that's alright when I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She goes courting 1, 2, 3. Please don't tell me who is she. Alright, Rich. She's sweet as apple pie. She got all that by and by. And when she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell him out when she gets home. Let them all come as they will. It's Albert Mooney she loves still. Tell me, ma, when I go home, the boys won't leave the girls alone. Pull my hair and stole my coal, but that's alright when I go home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she's the belle of Belfast City. She goes courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she? She goes courting 1, 2, 3. Please won't you tell me who is she?
Thank you.
Richard,
Thank you.
Okay, it's question and answer time. Do we have Lisa, does Lisa have any questions for us? Oh, good. Well, do you have any questions? Now, my thought was that these questions would be about the Kickstarter in case, I always am curious, it's such a common occurrence in my world to have a fundraising campaign to make an album. But I don't really understand how the, oh great, Jimmy has them. I don't really understand how I don't have a good sense of like how, to what degree the rest of the world understands. Although you are a pretty amazing bunch who have, I think a lot of you have kickstarted me in the past, so you probably get it. But I just wanted to give you the opportunity to ask anything about the album or the process or the fundraising that you might have. Any questions? I knew it. The introverts are squirming, like, yeah. Right, and not where? Berkeley? Oh, locally. That's a great question. The reason that I did it in California is that I met Julie, who is the producer of the record, and she lives there. So I met her in 2018, and we hit it off, and I could tell that working with her would be sort of, could be a transformational experience. And I was right, it was. And so that's where she lives. She lives in Oakland. So I wanted her to set it up with her band and her, and I also, frankly, it didn't sound terrible to go to California in April and, enjoy the sun.
Can I just add for perspective about Oakland, because all of my family lives there. The food is so good.
The food is so good. And there's this amazing Peruvian restaurant like a block from the studio, which is great. That Claudia Russell, you may know, Claudia is a great singer. She's on this record, you guys. She's so good. Rich and I and Claudia and Bruce, by the way, are playing October 13th at Turtle Ridge Gallery. If you can get tickets for that. But Claudia loves food, and she talks about a lot of different things. It's not that she doesn't talk about other things besides food, but it all comes back around to food eventually. And so she said she picked me up at the airport with what she called a big bag of carbohydrates, which was many rolls from her favorite bakery. And she said, "Guess what? The studio, it's a block away from El Mano, the best Peruvian restaurant in the Bay Area." Like, amazing. So she hipped me to it, and she was right. It was really, I haven't tried them all. Anyway, next question. We have some, maybe we should do some ones from paper, and you guys think. You don't have to have questions, by the way. Oh, yeah. Trudy.
About your second or third song, you changed your guitar, you had to retune the whole thing. Why don't you save that tune until the end, so you don't have to tune it back up again?
That's a great question. There's a couple reasons. One, I knew I had a lot of things that I wanted to say between that. I needed to give you the outline of that I'm making an album and we're kickstarting it, and it's nice to have something to do with your hands. It's like the same reason it's nice to have tea, right? Tuning is kind of a pleasant thing to give you activity, but also I cared more about the flow of the show than I did about that. And the other thing is that I have these two guitars, and in a perfect world, I would have used that other guitar for that, but the other guitar needs some work done on it. It's it wouldn't have tuned okay for that song, so that's a good question. What questions do you have, Mr. Kaplan?
Here's one.
Uh-huh.
Should I
You just
read it?
ask.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite song on the new album?
Oh, my favorite? That's a great question that I can't answer. They're like them all. There's 11, and I'm proud of them. And I go in different phases of thinking that they're different ones are especially exciting, but there isn't one. Next.
Well, I just want to add that I know that from the perspective of a fan or audience member, it's interesting because some songs, like on the first hearing, you totally get the song.
Yeah.
Other songs, because of what they're about or how they're written, take a longer time to kind of get it. And like, so it could be that like 2 months after you start listening to the album, you're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of interesting, just in terms of like the little bits that I've heard some of the songs. Some of them kind of just have a immediately.
They're like more accessible.
Yeah.
Or so, yeah.
Or for you know for some people it could be different, but
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. And
Yeah.
I'm sure for you they also kind of morph.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Well, this is, you know, this was handed to me. I did not write it,
Mm-hmm.
but it says, "Why are James Kaplan and Rich Higdon your two favorite sidemen ever?"
Well,
I think I wrote that one.
I mean, I think that's obvious to all. Carry on. Next.
Blue shirts.
Right.
Katie loves a blue shirt.
Why do people crowdfund all the time now?
Oh, right. So, crowdfunding is a word, is a term that Kickstarter falls under that umbrella, right? So does Patreon. Many of you are also Patreon supporters. So it's a way of it sort of replaces what used to happen long back then. What might have happened is that there would be a record label, or you would make your money from album sales on the back end. So either the label would fund your record on the front end, or you would make money on the back end from selling it. And what has happened in recent years is that people don't have CD players anymore. Some of them do, and some of them buy CDs, and that's awesome. But just demonstrably, CD sales are way, way down. And streaming doesn't pay at all, really. So like if you stream a song on Apple Music or Spotify, the artist gets like fractions of a cent for that. So that means that but at the same time, recordings still cost a lot of money to make, and more money. And if you do it right and you pay people what they should be paid, and you get great equipment, it costs a lot. So this record, all told, I think before you count like other merch, other like printing T-shirts or running the Kickstarter or anything, I think this record will end up costing about $42,000 or $44,000. So without crowdfunding, without the amazing generosity of you, there is not a way that an album could get made, other than by the independently wealthy, which he's not lame. Rich, it's a one-word oxymoron.
I was just thinking that we do actually need a car. So, as opposed to an album instead.
Right.
Like, we have to have both,
Right.
actually, in this world.
That's right. That's right. So does that make sense? Any questions about that? Like, I know that I do think that it's interesting to sort of pull back the veil. Yeah, Trudy.
So do you need to make a CD to get your name out there so you get more live jobs where you do make money?
Yes, that's partly why, to make one. That is, I think without recordings, you don't need to make the physical CD, but you need to make an album. And without recordings, it's hard to push your career along because people want to be able to experience you other than when they're right in front of you, right? That's the whole idea of it's the way we usually consume music, is when we're not in a room. So that's partly it. But partly it's just that feels like an important way for people to partly it's about career advancement, and partly more than that, I would say it's about people being able to hear me. Does that make sense?
I wanted to say something about like Patreon and that kind of stuff. I think that, I don't know the statistics, but I feel like for me, Patreon became a bigger deal during the pandemic.
And Patreon's like a subscription service where you get sort of behind the scenes stuff by paying a monthly thing.
Right, and so like I remember thinking about John Gorka, one of my favorite artists, and somebody who I try to see pretty much any time he plays in Wisconsin. When, especially early in the pandemic, where for all we knew, no one was going to be able to go anywhere for whoever knows what kind of time. And I was thinking about like, well, if he came, like when he does come to the Wisconsin Singer-Songwriter series in Mequon, I see him many times there. 2 tickets to that would probably be like $30 a piece, 60, so I kind of added up and I figured, well, I might spend $80 or $100 to go see that, and I can't right now.
Yeah.
And obviously, he doesn't have like loads of money coming in, the artists who I really care about. So it seemed like a reasonable thing to like sign up to pay him a certain amount of money every month, just, instead of buying those tickets that I couldn't buy.
Right.
Because there wasn't an option. And so that's kind of how it started, but there's a number of people that I, subscribe to because I'm interested in what they do. But for some of them, they don't really do very interesting stuff on Patreon. It's just really about giving them a little bit of support, that helps.
Well, and like for me, yes. And for me, I feel like the people I support on Patreon or the people I support on Kickstarter, it's transactional largely. Like I want that record, or I want their music in the world. So that's the way that it can happen. It feels to me like, if that's why I do it.
I know that
I think people have different motivations.
For a lot of the artists that I like and whose CD I will always purchase, even if I never open it, it's because sometimes it's because of the package has either lyrics or just something that's more special than just the listening part. So I think that's an important thing about kind of making, when you make I saw the vinyl of Wildwood for the first time out there, and it's so beautiful to see that. And I think one of the reasons people buy vinyl too is because the picture, the art and everything was so much more emphasized back in the day when LPs were the...
They're so big, so much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else do you have there? Oh, you got one back there. Yeah.
From the internet, from our friends in Comfy Pants. If you weren't a musician, Katie Dahl, what would you be doing right now?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I would be getting ready to watch the Packer game, most importantly. But yeah, I know. But that's what we're all doing anyway, right? This is like the pregame. I would be, I had some career aspirations in my life. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a doctor. That was I was obsessed, weirdly obsessed as a child with diabetes. No one I knew had it, but I read books about it and sort of, it comes from the Babysitter's Club. It's a long story. The point is I wanted to be a doctor. And then I switched, in college, I had this big sort of career crisis, because I wanted to be, I thought I wanted to be an English professor or a musician. And I would say, well, I know I can't, if I could do anything, I'd be a musician, but I know I can't do that. So I would. And at some point like someone said, well, what if you could do that? And I was like, ha, 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 ha. And at that point I barely played guitar and I hadn't written any songs. And it really did seem like a big dream far away. So anyway, I would probably be an English professor. I didn't get into grad school, by the way. That made the decision for me. After my senior year of college, I didn't get accepted to my PhD program that I applied to. It was probably a bad idea to only apply to one. And then so then I started my illustrious life of working in coffee shops, too, which I no longer have to do, which is nice.
Second internet question.
Oh yeah.
If you could have your fans remember one thing about you, what would it be?
Oh, I love that question. I think right now, I think that the answer to that question probably has changed for me over the years. But I think that right now, what I want is to be real, and I want to be honest, and I want to be seen for all of who I am. And that is what I would like people to know. That's what I'm trying to do with this record, and so I'm. That's what I'm working to achieve. Okay. Yeah.
Going back onto your theme of your album and the introspective and all that, my granddaughter just recently turned 15, and she also announced that she thinks she is bisexual. So, do you have any suggestions, any insights for her?
Yeah. You know, it's an interesting orientation with a lot of preconceptions associated with it, like a lot of preconceptions about that bisexual people aren't monogamous, which is not true for me. I'm quite committed to you. Or that bisexual people are going through a phase and eventually they'll discover that they are all the way straight or all the way gay, or that bisexual people are attention seeking. I am on a stage right now, so maybe. But you know, those are, I really don't, I mean, I think that is a damaging stereotype, though I jest about it. So I think that there are more and more people talking about it, and I think I have written, like, I have read and listened so much about this in the last 5 or 6 years, just trying to figure out why is it important for me to be, I'm in a marriage, I'm not like playing the field, so why is it important to be overt about my sexuality? And I don't really know, but it's really, really important to me. And so I have written a lot about it on my social media, and your granddaughter could look at that. I've distilled my thoughts in novel-length posts. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions? Do you have another one?
Yeah, it's sort of related to some of the Kickstarter thing. Can you tell us how you got to your fundraising goal? I guess maybe that's looking back, like at your last album.
Oh,
Right.
right. Because it's this. My goal for my last one was 30,000, and we ended up raising, including offsite donations, about 50,000. And my goal for this one is 40,000. And I'm hoping, in order to cover all my expenses, I think we would need to raise more like 58,000. So I got to it by making a pie chart for the first time, which I have to recommend if you are feeling stressed. Like the beauty of the numbers, like maybe it's something that's really stressful in your life, but like the colors just pop up on these automated pie chart programs and you feel like, order has been brought to chaos. So that's how I figured it out. I just wrote down all of my, the bulk of the expenses, what the pie chart revealed was the bulk of the expenses were purchasing pies. No, we're paying musicians. That's like a full third, musicians and my producer, that's a full third of who plays a lot on the album, by the way. Julie plays piano and keyboard and organ on this record, in addition to sort of overseeing things. So that's where most of the money went. And before I forget, okay, so I have some housekeeping. One, I meant to tell you this at the beginning. You're locked in here now? No, just kidding. This is like a no break concert. So it's gonna be like 85 minutes long. We're gonna go another half hour or so. So I wanted you to know that in case you're like expecting an intermission soon, you're not gonna get one. Also, I wanted to thank, we have some business sponsors for this Kickstarter, and I wanted to thank them. And they are, the first one is a real challenge because it's all Scandinavian words, but I'm going to do it. Al Johnson's Restaurant and Boutique, Stauber Beer Garden, and Skoll Boutique. Jacinda Duffin, True North Real Estate, The Camp Store at Nicolay Beach, Woodwalk Gallery, Nicolay Bank, The Inn at Windmill Farm, and Going Garbage. Give them a hand. Yay, business sponsors. And I know, go ahead and clap if you've already given to the Kickstarter in the last couple days. I know there's some of you. Clap. Oh, wow, you guys are so great. Thank you. If you already made a donation, I don't know what you call it, a pledge to the Kickstarter, or if you're going to do that today, you get a free shirt, and they are out in the lobby in that amazing like display that Lisa Schlenker and Kay Stiefel put together. So you just pick those are the only sizes I have left of those shirts, so you take them. Because I'm printing new ones, so I can't have like 17 different shirt designs, or Rich will leave me. And that would, a whole new album. I'd have to write a whole new album if that happened. Okay, so any more questions?
Do you have time for one more?
Yeah.
Do you understand Kickstarter's policy of if you don't reach your goal, nobody has to give any money?
Yeah.
I don't think if you only got 20,000, that's 20,000 more than you had before.
Right. Right. So what Trudy's saying is that it's an all or nothing, Kickstarter is an all or nothing proposition, which is important to talk about actually. So if I don't get to my $40,000 goal, I don't get any of the money. And I think that the reason that they do this is there's two reasons. I think. One is that Kickstarter is something that any human could sign up to kickstart something. And I think you sort of weed out the, it's based entirely on trust, right? Like the Kickstarter is the go-between, but they're trusting that the people who are creating these projects are going to are going to give the people what they signed up for, right? They're trusting that the creators are going to fulfill their end of the bargain. And if the creators don't, it's like a big hassle for Kickstarter. So in some ways, I think what they do is separate the wheat from the chaff in this way. Like they encourage people to really think about their budget, think about what they realistically can kickstart, and make sure that they have the sort of wherewithal to see it through. The other reason is a practical one, and that's that some of these projects are not, like this album is mostly done, but sometimes what people want to do is like, I don't know, make a Ferris wheel. And if they don't get the money, they can't make if they don't reach their goal, they can't make it. So if you have a Ferris wheel that is only half funded, that doesn't help you, and those people are just out the money, and it's never going to get done. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it's a practical consideration that they don't want to have projects sitting out there half funded and that never get finished. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what a producer does?
Yes, great question. Yes. So a producer can do a lot of different things depending on who your producer is. But their basic role is to organize things and hire the band and oversee the process, shepherd in a case of like with me as an original songwriter, shepherd the songs. So Julie and I spent like months and months and months on Zoom calls. So much Zoom it's like not an exaggeration, like many hours long Zooms for weeks, getting these songs into shape. So Julie really listened carefully to the songs and got them where they needed to be. She hired all the musicians. She is responsible for sort of creating a budget and then sticking to it. She's responsible for like communicating with the engineer, who's the person who's like actually doing the physical recording, like the audio stuff. And then she's also sort of determining the soundscape for the album. So she's like, what instruments do we want where, and figuring out arrangements for the songs. And as we mix it, which is the process of sort of setting sounds at the right levels, and at the right spot in the soundscape, the stereo land. Julie's in charge of sort of determining what is it that we want this record to sound like and trying to make it sound the way that we want it to sound. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anything else? Okay, great. That was fun, you guys. Thanks for asking good questions. Let's see here. What's next on our? Okay, we're gonna do. We're gonna do the Katharine Hepburn Waltz. A little oldie but a goodie. I was thinking about this song today because I was thinking about like how realness and vulnerability it's not a new thing for me. I mean, it's just that I have never really dug quite so deep or talked about things that feel so scary to me to talk about, or not scary but challenging. But this is a song that really, when I wrote it in 2009, is really how I felt. It really expresses my feelings accurately. And I had just started dating Rich, and I was not sure that that was a great plan. So this is my song of ambivalence and love. Ambivalent love. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Catherine Hepburn, I wish I could learn how you managed to take a man by the hand, hold him close to your side, and still speak your mind in vowels so aristocratic and grand. And tell me, Jo March, did you think yourself harsh when you said no, I can't go be a wife, I'll just write about dances, late night romances, but more importantly, piracy, shipwrecks, and strife. If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my steel? If I'm not good at me, I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall. Mary Poppins, did you think of stopping for Bert between spoonfuls of sugar and carpetbag spells? And were you surprised by the way that it hurt to lift your umbrella and bid him farewell? If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my seat? If I'm not good at me, I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall. As Penelope, you wove Odysseus home, did you sigh and say someday I too want to roam? But when he returned, could you feel your heart burn, saying now he's come back and I have come home? If I'm crazy for him, am I losing my steed? If I'm not good at me, I forgot how to feel without thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall. Hey, I'm thinking I'm shrinking away from the call of a girl who stands tall but still knows how to fall. I mentioned earlier, my dad died about 6 weeks before I was supposed to go into the studio. See, this is another example, Trudy, of me retuning the guitar. And I had, at the time, I think I had 10 songs written, or 9 songs, and I needed to write one more. And usually when something big happens to me, and arguably my dad dying is one of the biggest things that has ever happened to me, it takes me a while to sort of get, process it before I can spit it out into a song. But this, 3 days after he died, I started writing this song, and he and I had a tricky relationship. But one place where I have really good memories of him is on the north shore of Lake Superior, where we went every summer. And there is we stayed at a resort called Lamb's Cabins, And the river that flows through that resort is called the Cross River. And so I sat down to write this song, and I was like, what's that river called? The Temperance River. And I wrote this whole song about the Temperance River, and in fact, it's the Cross River. But now you know. Like I said, I'm working on being transparent. So for this purposes of this song, it's called the Temperance River, which, interestingly, is a joke. It's an alcohol joke because this river has no sandbar at its mouth, and so that's why they call it the Temperance River. Isn't that cool? So, okay, let me. Ready?
Temperance River come running down, river runs cold and deep, down to the waters of Lake Superior, down to the inland sea, the iron mud and last year's snow. Temperance River, gather up all the smoothest stones, river runs cold and deep, water to rock, blood to bone, down to the inland sea, father to daughter, stone to the water, Temperance River. Falls to the place we know, river runs cold and deep, hang on to the roots as you go below, down to the inland sea. Are you ever gonna tell me what I wanna know? Temperance River come running down, river runs cold and deep, down to the waters of the biggest lake, river run to the sea, the iron mud and the smoothest stones, all those things I wanted to know, gone the way last year's snow. You can let 'em go. Temperance River, Temperance River come running down, river runs cold and deep, down to the waters of the biggest lake, down to the inland sea, the iron mud and the smoothest stones, all those things I wanted to know, gone the way last year's snow. Temperance River, Temperance River.
One of the another thing that a producer does that I forgot to mention is have awesome friends. So Julie has some cool connections in the music world. She toured for a long time with Indigo Girls and Ani DeFranco and a lot of really cool people. And she sort of has connections, and the record as a result has really cool people singing on it. Heroes of mine, Peter Mulvey and Chris Delmhorst and Eliza Gilkison, who sings on that last song. I don't know if you know them, but you should. They are so great. So I'm really pumped. And of course, Claudia Russell, who I knew. I brought the Claudia connection. Jimmy really did. Okay, we're going to do now, this is what I like to call the last song. And then if you would respond in any way after this last song, then we will do another song, which is the encore. That's right, exactly. Thank you. But before we do that, we have some people to thank. So, big thanks to Tad and Deb and Nancy, who are our volunteers for the day. Big thanks to Kay and Lisa, who are also helping out. Big thanks to David back there on sound. It sounds super awesome up here. Big thanks to James and Rich for playing with me. Anne, thank you, Anne, for running the StreamYard. And I'm worried, who am I forgetting? What? Chase, thank you, Chase. Thank you, Chase, for selling beer and filming back there. And some other, but wait, there's more bookkeeping, but really, thank you to you. Like, I can't even, it means so much to me to have, this record means a lot to me, and that it's being supported already so generously by you is really a shot in the arm. I've been nervous about putting this record out, and it makes me feel sort of like hugged to have it be so helped already. And so many of you have already given. I'm really, really grateful. I'm grateful to you for spending your afternoon here. I know that it's just for the Packer game that you came, but you showed up on time for the concert, so that, it was good. It gave me the sort of illusion that you cared about the music. You've been so nice and great listeners. So that's what's going to happen afterward. We have a little break. There's free cookies out there. You can buy concessions and beer, and we're going to set up the Packer game to watch it in the lobby if you want. I will be, and if you need any help making a Kickstarter donation, I'm happy to help you on your device or on one of mine. And I think that's the housekeeping. Oh, one more thing, there's postcards out there. Come to Scotland with me, yeah? We have the Scotland team sitting right down here. Woo! They're like so well bonded that they travel now in a pack because we have so much fun. I really feel like we made lifelong friendships, didn't we, everyone? Yeah, it was so great. So I'm leading 2 trips to Scotland next year in September and October. Postcards out there, and I hope you come. Okay, so this last song is sort of, I think, the thesis statement of the album, La Thèse, as they would say in French. And James Kaplan has been ribbing me about the fact that my this album, it's all about like being seen as the thesis statement song is in a foreign language that no one can understand, which is fair. But you do it, I can't help what the muse does. So this song is in French, and it's called Mon beau galet, which means my beautiful stone. It's one of the 7. And it is, I'll just, I don't usually translate the whole thing, but I'm just gonna, it's pretty quick, so I'll translate it. I had a beautiful stone that held all my waters, my beautiful stone. Years ago, they told me I had to give it up, my beautiful stone. The bells, the window, the awakening, the sun, I'm done hiding myself. In the church where she sang, my heart broke open, my beautiful stone. And there among the dirt and the roots I found it again, my beautiful stone. The bells, window, the awakening the sun, I'm done hiding myself.
J'avais une pierre et toute mon eau elle contenait. Mon beau galet, il y a des années, on m'a dit qu'il fallait l'abandonner. Mon beau galet, les cloches, les veilles, la fenêtre, le soleil. J'ai fini de me cacher. Dans l'église où elle chantait, ma poitrine s'est brisée. Mon beau galet est là parmi la terre et les racines j'ai retrouvé. Mon beau galet, les cloches, les veilles, la fenêtre, le soleil. J'ai fini. J'ai fini. J'ai fini de me cacher.
Oh my goodness. Well, I, for one, am shocked that we're playing another song. Hold on. Well, this is something that I used to find hard to talk about when it was happening, which is a big crush I had on a college professor. And that was good. I don't think you should go around talking about your crushes on your college professors, probably. But now it's been 20 years, alarmingly, so I feel like I can. And I've been talking about this. I've played this song a few times at shows, and I brought it up like, this is a universal experience, having a crush on your college professor. But it seems what I'm gathering from you out there in the world is that it's not a universal experience, and I'm weirder than I thought. But but I really did have a crush on this professor. So, and what I thought was, I'm a mature 19-year-old, and I understand life in a way that my fellow college students don't. And so you, Professor, surely, if you only knew how much I see you, then who knows what could happen. So, oops. This is not that guitar. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Ready, everyone? This is actually the last song. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the lobby. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skinny waist, skinny smile. You see your mother in the mirror every once in a while. That's right. You're still a child. And it's gonna bust right out of that brown tweed blazer and your yellow blouse, that's right. I see you choking on the words in your mouth. Hey, hey, this is the summer grass. Take off that winter jacket, cut the chit-chat. Don't give me any of that. All I wanna know is what makes you sad. Glass, stony church, I saw you look up at the ceiling when you talked about her, that's right. I could see it hurt. Oh, is she walking with another by the big blue domes, or did you have to leave her lying in the catacombs, that's right. Either way, you're walking alone. Hey, hey, this is the summer grass. Take off that winter jacket, cut the chit-chat. Don't give me any of that. All I wanna know is what makes you sad. You got something in you, it's like something in me. I see it in your writing in the microfiche. I see it in the heavy way you're walking down the street. I see it in your class when I'm sitting at your feet. 'Cause sad girls wear bright boots and I'm wearing some bright boots too. So let me show you the map on the soles of my shoes. You'll know that I knew what I knew, that I knew you. So turn in the grades, come out in the rain. We'll watch that Cannon River shoot its banks, that's right. Let's watch it flood the plain. Hey now, this is the summer grass. Take off that winter jacket, cut the chit-chat. Don't give me any of that. All I wanna know is what makes you sad. Unstack your stacking doll, put down that Russian novel. Tell me all about your little purple pill bottle. 'Cause all I wanna know, all I wanna know.
Thank you.
Very much. Yay. Jimmy Kaplan, Rich Higdon. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you out there in the lobby.
Katie Dahl.
Thanks. Go Pack! Go Packers!